Hi, I'm David Levin, and welcome to another spine-tingling edition of Pop Goes the Culture. Today, the epic conclusion to my talk with Lea Thompson. We'll be talking about her sitcom Caroline in the City and her appearance as an evil gold digger in Beverly Hillbillies, the movie.
And I was pregnant with my second child, and they said, well, we'll develop. I said, I'm not sure if I want to do comedy or drama, so they developed a comedy and a drama. I helped with them. I helped write them, and of course they hated both of them, and sent me a stack of scripts this high. And they said, you can do the lead in any of these. I was like, wow, that's nice. I wish that would happen now. And then I was very pregnant. And the head of the network said to me, if I were you, I would do this. And he pulled out Caroline in the City. He said, this is called Caroline in the City. You're Caroline. It's a sitcom. It's much easier to have two kids. And we love it. So I said, okay. And I'd never done a sitcom before, never even auditioned for one. So it was a little bit scary. It's a different form, you know? It's kind of it's kind of like the kung fu of acting. You know? It takes a lot of skill.
Yeah.
I really think it's the hardest.
Well, it's a little theater, it's a little TV, it's a little movies, and you're doing in front of the audience.
Yeah, and just the whole process of joke telling and weaving the joke telling in with trying to make it cohesive artistically, or making the story work while you still hit the jokes. The closest thing I'd ever had to that was Back to the Future, because you had to string these jokes together and at the same time have something real, have real acting going on underneath. And
Had you done any sitcoms? Had you done any sort of guesting work at that point?
I had never done any sitcoms. Like, I'd never even auditioned for one. I'd never been in one. I'd never seen one being shot. I'd hardly watched them. And I remember Marco Panette, one of the writers and producers, I was auditioning with other actors after I had it, and Jimmy Burrows, who's this famous director, was sitting there, and I already had the part, but I was trying to help with the other actors, and I left, and Jimmy Burrows didn't laugh at anything. He just, which he's famous for, just like. So I left that, and then and then Marco took me to see my first taping, you know. He took me to Ellen to see what it was like, because I wanted to see, what is it like? And on the way there to Marco, I said, I can't do this. I'm getting out. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. And he was like, dun-dun, dun-dun. His heart was like pounding, you know, because this was a go deal, and it was a big deal at NBC. He was like, what? I was like, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. It's not going to happen. Of course I did. And I had like a 2-month-old baby. And when we shot the pilot, which is a big deal, pilots are a really big deal. It's a lot of pressure. There's all the brass there and the agents and sweating, you know, just a terrible, terrible thing. And all I could think about was that I needed to breastfeed my baby. The whole time, I was just like, I have to breastfeed my baby. I'm like, telling jokes, and the audience is laughing, and the warm-up guys, I'm like, I have to get to my baby. It's all I could think about.
It's nice to have something to think about while you're doing all that other stuff.
Yeah, maybe that's why it was funny. I was like, I didn't register the amount of pressure that was going on around me, but then they picked it up and gave it the best time slot in the history of TV.
Yeah.
So, and then the critics tortured me too. They were like, I remember the New York Times said, the ultra bland Lea Thompson. So when we would shoot love scenes, I'd have to wear this little beige leotard, strapless. I had them sew a U on, and so I would run around the set saying, I'm the superhero ultra bland, and I would run around, able to bore an entire audience in 5 seconds. I'd march around, ultra bland woman.
And yet you managed to have a show for years.
Yeah, 4 years. Show. 4 years. It was a good show, and I don't think I was bland. I think I was cute.
Respectable.
Yeah.
You know, that's very respectable.
Yeah, it was really respectable, and it did really well. I think it probably held that position better than anybody.
You did a crossover at one point, or 2 crossovers with Friends or something?
Just one, yeah. I just did a...
Well, they appeared one appeared on yours and you appeared on his.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I have to fix my bra. To tell this story, I have to fix my bra.
Yeah.
I don't.
That whole you thing. So.
It was just a publicity stunt that they had us crossing over. Matthew Perry came and did our show, and I did their show. It was
A real big deal.
That was the only time I've ever guested on a sitcom. Was on Friends.
Was it different than being on your own set?
Oh, of course. When it's your set. Well, when it's your set, it's really nice to be the lead, because you kind of set the tone of, you set the tone for what the, like if you're on a set where the lead is not nice, the whole thing is like that. Everybody's paranoid and scared and unhappy and, but when you go on a show, and Friends was really nice. They were all really great people, and so the tone was really nice. And I always tried to set a tone of like fun and collaboration. I tried to keep it open with the with the directors and the writers. Sometimes it gets to be two camps on a sitcom, because the writers are like, if she was funnier, my joke would work, and the actors are like, if they wrote funnier, I'd be funnier. So there's always two camps, and I tried to keep that away.
The old blame game.
Yeah, it's really easy.
Yeah. You've had a lot of guest stars on your own show also, though, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about some of them?
My favorite
Standouts?
my favorite of the ones that got fired. They would fire people. You know what? They would fire. I would know on a table read, the first time you sit down and you read the script. At one point, a girl read 3 words, and I said, she's going to be fired. She was. By the time 3 words in, they would fire. One day, and it's a brutal world. It's crazy. I used to tell people, I'd say, I don't really want to sound bossy or like I'm trying to like be a pushy actor, but you better work just. It's a brutal.
Oh, wow.
All sitcoms are like that. Yeah, we had a lot of guest stars, but geez.
Any standouts?
Of course, but like I said, I can only remember my lines and
How
my
about
kids.
Rosemary and Maury Amsterdam?
Okay, thank you. Rosemary and
Maury Amsterdam.
Yeah, that was the desk episode. Rosemary and Maury Amsterdam were in the desk episode, and that was really funny. It was really great. It was really fun to work with. It's a completely different kind of a set of actors that you work with on a sitcom than a movie. There are a lot of theater actors on sitcoms because they know they can do it and not fall apart. That they can handle the pressure of all the rewrites and everything. So.
Right, but those two had worked together years earlier on Dick Van Dyke. I mean, did you feel any sort of special chemistry, obligation, energy, something different from those two? Because I interviewed her, and she's a pistol. Boy, oh boy, you better be on your game with Rosemary.
Yeah, she was. I think she was bossing him around a little bit, if I remember correctly. She was really wonderful. She just wanted to be professional and do her thing, and she's known this guy forever. So it's really interesting. I've had a chance to work with a lot of really great people. It's stunning, and I even forget. Like I've worked so long now, I forget.
Gotta keep a running list.
Yeah.
Leno came on your show?
Yeah, I think Jay Leno really, I don't know if he was actually on our set. I think I just went to his set. Mm-hmm. Just like I think I went to Regis and Kathy Lee. We shot something. They're very generous about that. You just kind of wait till their show's over, and then you go in and they use their cameras, and Caroline was on these shows. On that one, oh gosh, what's her name? Joanne Worley. Yeah, when I did the show with Regis and Kathy Lee, Joanne Worley was on that with me, and she is funny.
Really?
She's a killer.
She was great.
So funny.
I got my list here.
Good, thank you, because I can't remember.
John Landis.
John Landis was in, he had great jokes. He was really funny at lunchtime. It was good of him to do that.
What was he playing himself?
I think he was a director, yeah. Yeah, he was playing himself.
Wow.
When you do 100 episodes, I swear to you, I can't remember.
They all blur together. I know.
It's really hard. Amy Peets is still one of my very best friends. I just saw her last night, and she says the same thing. Like, she's like, you can't remember it. You're watching it, and you're like, what was I? Because it goes so fast when you're doing a sitcom, and they rewrite so much. It's almost like all in one day.
And you never watch your own stuff?
Well, I watched it, I guess, but not a lot. And it's all in this like 5 hours, and then you're done, and the next day you're starting another one. So they flow by so fast. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'll mention a couple other people. Let's see. John Ratzenberger. Remember him being on?
Yes, but I can't remember what.
Judd Hirsch?
Oh, yeah. Judd Hirsch. Judd Hirsch, I think he was Malcolm's dad. Yeah, that was cool. He was funny. I didn't have a lot to do with him. And, sorry.
Question for you, because I ask everybody, because everybody sort of, people play these characters that come to life, and you watch them, and then the character goes away, and you go off and live your life, and somewhere Carolyn is maybe in the city, maybe he's not. So I figure you would know as well as anybody. Where is Carolyn today?
Caroline today, well, she's not married to Richard. She's married and has some kids to a Jewish investment banker. And, things are not great all the time. He's, a little bit, he's a little drier in his wit than her.
She's still doing the comic?
She's still doing the comic because she's very good at it. And she's struggling along, doing well. She's got a special deal with some toilet tissue where she does all the animation for
Great
them.
merchandising.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jane Doe a little bit. Tell me about that.
I'm doing Jane Doe right now. I've done 7 movies for the Hallmark Channel. She's a CIA soccer mom, and it's a really interesting character. And I got to direct one of them, which was really fun for me. They're 2-hour kind of standalone movies, mystery movies that try to echo back to the 80s when they had like McCloud and Columbo and McMillan and Wife.
Are you one of those people who every person you're friends with is going to die, or someone they love is going to die if you come to visit them, like Jessica Fletcher?
No, people don't die like that because I kind of work for the CIA kind of organization, so it's always a kind of a bigger kind of case. It's not a kind of a local case. It's kind of a, but I'm a puzzle solver. I'm smarter than everybody, theoretically. But it's a fun character because she's the kind of person she's around all these macho guys and their macho Lincolns and their macho Chryslers, black cars and guns and stuff, and she just doesn't buy it. She won't live that life, so she's disarming because she just seems like a typical housewife, but she's much smarter, which I think all of us typical housewives can relate to, that we're a lot smarter than people think we are. And it's kind of an interesting form I've never done before. I did another series for Lifetime where I had to be kind of a very dry, a legal show, and I find it hard to not be able to use my comedy chops. So this is nice because it's a drama, but I get to be silly and use my personality. I think it's hard for me to, if I had to every day for 11 years go, sir, I'm afraid. It's just, it just would start to drive me crazy.
How is it being behind the camera?
I really like directing. I hope I get to do a lot more of it. My mind works well that way. It's a little bit hard directing yourself when you're starring. It's a lot of hats to be wearing.
Right.
It's a lot of concentration. But I like it. I would really like to direct sitcoms. That would be my ultimate goal.
You think somebody going to give you a shot?
I don't know. I'll have to start working on it a little bit harder. Probably the best shot would be if I got another one, and they'd let me. If Caroline would have gone another year, I would have directed it. But I had 2 little kids. Well, no, when I did Caroline, I had 2 little kids, and they're a lot older now. And it clearly takes all, and that's my number one priority, so I didn't want to totally fracture my brain. Save some of it for the kids. But now they're older, they can take care of themselves.
Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, okay.
Was that fun for you?
The Beverly Hillbillies was a really fun part for me because I just had a baby and I got my body back in shape and I got to play a bad guy, kind of, a bad girl. And I had a great wig and I got to do a strange accent. The audition for that, or not the audition, I already had the part, but the movie wasn't quite written yet. And when I got the part, it wasn't kind of fully formed yet. And Rob Schneider and I were, it's supposed to be a bad guy team. And they kind of had loose ideas of things. And I was supposed to go undercover to, infiltrate the Clampett family to marry Jed. And they didn't really know how I was supposed to go undercover. They were like, So I literally had to take a scene from the movie and go up to the president of Fox, in his office with the director and decide what accent I was going to use. So he's like shouting, I'd do the scene, he'd go, okay, do it in a Russian accent. I was like, I'm not a jukebox, So I would try to do it in a Russian accent. Okay, do it in an Irish accent. All right, I'd done that. I knew how to do that. Okay, do it in an English accent. And then he said, this is when I put my foot down, do it in an Audrey Hepburn accent. She has a very weird accent, if anybody knows. It's like, whatever, Swiss. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. And then I said, okay, what about French? Because there's this great joke that I know I could tell, which was, all women know happiness is hard to find. What? Happiness is hard to find. Because that's how they say. And so they went, bingo, okay, you can do the French accent. So Rob Schneider and I kind of we wrote, changed. He wrote a lot of what we did, and it was very creative and really fun. And I had great hair, so it was awesome.
You always have. How about Ed?
What?
Ed? The show Ed?
Oh, Ed.
That was fun.
Oh, yeah, I did a couple, 3 Eds, which was really, really fun. Except for the day before I started Ed, I was at my uncle's funeral and my father died. So I had to get on a train and start Ed and shoot 17 hours of Ed the day after all that. So it was kind of intense. But after that, it was really nice to have something to do when I was feeling so sad. And I really loved that place. I loved the set. The set was awesome. It was a real old bowling alley.
In the middle of Northville, New Jersey.
Yeah, in the middle of New Jersey, and there was always these trains going by. Woo! And you didn't know when you were shooting. You'd be just shooting, and everybody'd be to stop and wait. Woo! And you'd go, what? And then they would stop, and they'd keep acting. They were so used to these long whistles, they would just stop in the middle of a take, and it was their little joke. It's weird when you go on a set that's all kind of going, and they've got their thing, and you're like, what are they doing? And you try to catch up with their shtick.
Well, they turned that whole bowling alley into a studio and a set and this, and they had their editing in the back. It was crazy.
It was awesome. It was cool. I loved it.
Have we missed anything?
About TV?
Or film or anything?
TV, film, I don't know. I got a lot. I've done a lot, but I think you got enough, darling.
Good stuff. Thank you.
That's the show for today. I'm David Levin. You can follow Pop Goes the Culture on Twitter at PopGoCulture, Facebook, or email me at popgoestheculture@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.